I am one of the people who actually believe that both Yamato and Carrot will be joining the Straw Hat crew. However, just saying that wouldn't be any fun, so I decided to look at the honestly fairly obvious evidence that if you're someone who believes that Yamato should join, Carrot's coming with. Like, there's no way around it. It's a situation that so many people are in denial about, who will say that, oh, this is evidence for Yamato joining. This is evidence for Yamato joining. But most of the evidence that they look at also is evidence for Carrot as well. Now, from a personal standpoint, I absolutely love both characters. And I feel that a moment where both of them hang out, get along, and show that they're not too different could put a lot of Carrot haters in their place. Both characters have a want to go out to sea. Everyone seems to think there needs to be some grandiose want, some massive end goal, this dream that is manifest destiny. It has to happen for the world to continue to turn. But that's not always the case. Yes, there can be elements of that. Don't get me wrong, that's definitely there for both characters. But since the start of the series, the want was to adventure. Why most of these characters set out to sea was for an adventure. To say that just because either one of them wants an adventure is reason for them not to be a Straw Hat, I feel like you've missed the point. But the major thing that really shows that they'll join one after the other is the comparisons. Yamato wants to be Oden. Just in case you haven't heard, it's Yamato's dream, their lifelong goal. It's what they say pretty much every other sentence. But at the same time, Oda has shown not just a comparison of a dream, but also a massive contrast. Both Oden and Yamato were stuck in some place they considered tiny. They wanted to go out. They wanted to see the world. They forced themselves upon a crew in order to adventure out into the wider world out there. But this was not something that was just about destiny. Yes, it came into play for Oden. That was when he met Roger, and Roger seemed to compel Oden that, oh, something great could happen if I travel with this man. For Yamato, it is when they met Luffy, knowing that Luffy is someone of great importance, but there was also that dream of seeing the world, of having fun, of having an adventure. The place they lived was too small for their larger-than-life personality. And while Oden wasn't exactly restrained by his father, but from a sense of duty, while Yamato was fully restrained in captivity by responsibilities that they were neither born into or even asked for. And by that extension, the person who should also follow Yamato onto the crew would be Carrot, much like Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. They did not join Oden on his journey just because of a sense of something grander. It was a sense of adventure, a want to see the world, to have fun, to enjoy themselves. Oden and Roger became fast friends. Oden saw something in Roger that went beyond words, and Roger had a use for Oden. Oden was a missing piece of the puzzle for Roger that could take him even further than he had ever gone before. Oden was a necessary addition to his crew in order to find the One Piece, whereas in contrast, for Luffy, he really didn't need Yamato. At this point, he had everything he could possibly need the moment he gained Robin on his crew. But we've already seen Luffy and Yamato getting on thick as thieves, having a good time, living it up during the Fire Festival, well, the continued Fire Festival. But if Yamato comes aboard, It won't just be in order to find the One Piece, it'll just be to have an adventure. Because that's what matters to Luffy most. Not the destination, but the journey. He had the opportunity to ask Rayleigh where the One Piece was. Does it even exist? And even Stampede showed it point blank, where he destroyed a log post to Laugh-Tale. He didn't want a boring journey, he wanted a fun one. And if he thinks he'll have more fun with Yamato along for the journey, they'll take him along. It's as simple as that. Yamato is not a necessity, but Yamato does further the narrative of Luffy inviting a multitude of different races under him, allying with them. And whatever race Yamato is a part of, be it Oni or some other name we don't know of, the addition of Yamato furthers the inclusivity of the Straw Hat Pirates. The same kind of inclusivity we saw with Oden, who had no problem having Kawamatsu, Inuarashi, Nekomamushi as vassals, and that instant acceptance led to instant loyalty, where they followed him wherever he would go, with them immediately bonding with the Whitebeard pirates. And whereas Izo found himself becoming a pretty much permanent fixture to the Whitebeard pirates, when Oden went with Roger, there was Nekomamushi and Inuarashi still wanting to go along for the adventure. They weren't willing to give up the fun that they had been having over what at that point was, I believe, 4 years. And just like with the Whitebeard pirates, the Roger pirates were inclusive as well, with Fishman and Mink on their crew. It didn't matter if Inuarashi and Nekomamushi were strong or weak. They were always invited along because each crew had fun. Hell, even Whitebeard was actually kind of mad when Nekomamushi and Inuarashi left. He had grown attached to all three of them and was angered by their departure. And you can't tell me that Roger didn't get along with Inuarashi and Nekomamushi with whatever trouble they seemed to get into. Roger was just as mischievous as they were in their youth, probably living it up and having a fun time, with the only reason that they left being that Toki was sick, and they were the only ones who actually knew her well enough that they could help her get settled into Wano. Again, showing that loyalty that we see in a lot of Minks. Minks are very loyal creatures to those who they find interesting. For Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, that was Oden. And for Carrot, that's Luffy. To think that Carrot would just up and leave feels foolhardy. She's taking a shine to Luffy. She's taken a shine to the crew as a whole. She wants to continue to explore the wonderland that is the seas, to have more fun, to eat more food, to experience more joy. And despite the hardships and heartache that she suffered along the way, she has shown that she's willing to try to continue to stand and fight for what she believes in, and to fight for those she has grown to be loyal to. Pedro sacrificed his life for the Straw Hats. That's that Mink loyalty. And even Carrot, during her time as Sulong, was willing to sacrifice herself as well. If you go back and watch the scene of Carrot going Sulong, there came a point where she almost died at the hands of Daifuku because she was exhausted in her Sulong form, and it looked as though there was going to be no way for her to make it back. She was ready to make the sacrifice for this crew, just like her mentor, but she was thankfully saved by Brook. So many Carrot for Nakama fans point to the reunion with Jinbei and say, this is proof that Carrot is already part of a crew. And there's a reason for that, because this was a joyous moment, a joyous reunion. This was a point for them to just embrace the fact that someone they weren't sure whether or not had sacrificed his life for them or not was able to make it back safe. And Oda including Carrot in this moment, I feel that was a big one. Carrot had lost a lot up until this point, and she would continue to lose more. She deserved at least one joyous moment. And so when people point to Carrot's loss to Perospero and say that as proof that she won't join, it's obvious to me you're looking at all the wrong thing. Every Straw Hat during the Battle of Onigashima had losses and victories. Some had things that they weren't able to overcome. Some played parts that were more supportive and didn't actually take out an adversary. So many people turn to Carrot's loss and say it's proof that she's not joining. But who did Yamato really fight? Yeah, Yamato fought Kaido. That was impressive. Yamato did not defeat Kaido. Who did Yamato defeat? So many people turn to the one-on-one fights as proof of a Straw Hat joining. And if so, that's proof that Yamato isn't going to join if that's your criteria. Yamato played a supporting role in Onigashima, just in the same way that Carrot played a supporting role in Whole Cake Island. They had a great moment to shine, to show off the full breadth of their abilities in a way where they both helped to buy time for our heroes. Carrot helped to buy time for the Straw Hats to get away from Big Mom's forces. Yamato helped to bide time in challenging their old man to hold them off until Luffy was able to get back into the fight. Carrot was able to secure the mirror world alongside Chopper. Yamato dealt with the bombs in Onigashima. They were supportive characters in the arcs where they were put the most on display. And I believe that's what Oda was going for. Doing something a little bit different. Not completely devoting each arc to either character, as there was a little bit more than just them going on for each of them. But I want to know your thoughts. Do you believe I made a compelling argument for why Yamato joining means Carrot will join as well? I also want to thank you for watching this video and being a part of the cult of Carrot, who believe that Carrot is the next Straw Hat crew member and that the evidence is obvious, that it's empirical, that Oda has laid the groundwork at our feet. We only just have to realize that it's there. I also want you to boost the hashtags Carrot for Nakama and Carrot for Straw Hat and preach the gospel, because you know the truth of what Oda is trying to do. And if you have time, go on Twitter and give a follow to Carrot for Nakama, as this channel was inspired by their wonderful posts and blogs about the depth of the story of One Piece with analytical evidence that goes even deeper and in more detail than I ever could. Join up and follow a true believer as we cheer on our plucky future lookout in our future journey into the wonderland that is the world of One Piece. But until the next video, I want to thank you for joining me. Stay safe, stay well, and keep on believing. Until next time.